So what is permaculture? Permaculture is that's a beast of a question. I mean, it kind of accomplishes or attempts to accomplish a lot of things. And I think because it attempts to capture so many things, it gets easily confused. And so I've spent, the better part of a decade contemplating what permaculture is. And basically, if you ask what engineering is a design science. We use scientific discovery and we apply it into the creation of human habitat. In fact, the definition of engineering is the manipulation of matter to the benefit of humankind. And so that kind of accomplishes or encompasses everything, essentially. It's how we build cities, it's how we build roads, it's how we build high-rise towers and houses and infrastructure. And if you think about that definition for a second, it's very one-sided. And so it's the manipulation of matter to the benefit of humankind. And that's really what we've done through the Industrial Revolution and even beyond that, further into the past. Permaculture is kind of like that. It's the manipulation of matter to the benefit of humankind in all of our relations. So how do we continue to manipulate matter? How do we continue to build and construct things to improve our well-being? That's the goal of engineering is to improve well-being of humanity. But we need to do it in a way that isn't going to soil our nest, that isn't going to compromise future generations' ability to sustain themselves on the planet. And so when people start kind of contemplating that, you can end up going down a couple of different rabbit holes, one of which is the rabbit hole that the environmentalists would find themselves in. And so an environmentalist might look at the manipulation of matter as a negative thing, that humans create disturbance and that we create destruction or create entropy. And certainly there's a lot of evidence in the world that all that we do is create destruction or entropy. You look at the oil sands, you look at what happens when cities expand and they take over prairie or forests. You look at how we remove forests and how we clear-cut forests. We look at how industrial agriculture operates. There's a lot of evidence to indicate that we are creating a lot of destruction and disturbance, negative disturbance on the planet. But then if we contrast that concept with the lowly beaver, actually I don't know why I said lowly beaver, it's an incredible animal. Beavers manipulate matter to their benefit. They do it for their well-being. They build dams, they cut down trees. A lot of landowners despise beavers because of all the trees they cut down. But in doing that, one of the favorite trees of the beaver is the poplar, the aspen. It actually regenerates the tree. And so the tree actually gets stronger as a result of being cut down, and new buds in the form of a coppice or typically in the form of a coppice come out of the stump of that tree, and so it actually extends its life. By blocking the creek, it stores enormous amounts of water, and it's been shown that background biodiversity increases by 28 times. And so there actually is a middle ground. It doesn't necessarily mean that disturbance or creation or building has to be a bad thing and create only negativity or negative externalities. And so permaculture really gives us the tools to create a new type of design science, so a hybrid of engineering and ecology, or you could say ecological engineering, so that each and every single one of us can manage the properties that we live on, whether they're small or large, and continue to leave our footprints, because you can't occupy this earth and not have a footprint. Newton said that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so that when you put your mass onto this earth, it leaves a footprint. But what you can control is whether or not that footprint is going to leave the planet in a better place. And the reason you do that is because you're self-interested. You're self-interested because you know that you depend upon the ecologies in order to be able to eat every day, for a stable climate. All of these things are dependent upon us making sure that we steward the places that we live. And ideally, we make them better than they were in the first place, which sounds cocky, but if you look at what a beaver does, a beaver actually manipulates its environment and actually increases the amount of biodiversity available. So if a beaver can do it, we can do it as well. And so I'll leave you with a quote that Bill Mollison has in the design manual, which is that only 2 words, everything gardens. And what he was getting at there is that everything manipulates its environment. It's our choice whether or not that manipulation is actually going to make things better or if it's going to make things worse. And so the permaculture design course is a design course that gives people the tools and techniques for this new type of design science called permaculture, so that you can take control of those footprints and leave them better off than potentially you were doing before you had that knowledge. And the last thing that I'll say is that one of the things that really got me interested in permaculture in the first place is that it's guilt-free. We're not here to make people feel bad about how they've acted in the past or how they currently make their livelihood. We're just here to create solutions, and it has to be better and taste better. It has to be more fun, it has to be positive. And it's an exceptionally fun journey. And I encourage all of you to take it.